There's a strange moment that happens to millions of people, almost every single day, and almost none of them talk about it. They arrive home, the engine is off, the keys are in their hand, and instead of walking inside, they just sit there, staring at nothing, not checking their phone, not listening to anything in particular, just sitting in silence, in a metal box, in their own driveway. Why would someone do that? Why would the last 5 minutes of a long day be spent in a parked car instead of the comfort of home? That question is more revealing than it sounds. If you've ever done this, you already know it isn't really about the car. You pulled in, maybe from work, maybe from a visit with family, maybe from nowhere in particular, and something in you just wasn't ready to go inside yet. Not because you don't want to see the people waiting for you. Not because anything is wrong. It's something quieter than that. A need to just stop for one moment before the next roll begins. Because the second that front door opens, you become something again. A parent, a partner, a roommate, someone who has to explain their day or perform being fine or simply exist in a shared space. But in the car, for just a few minutes, you're nobody. No one needs anything from you. No one is watching your face for how you feel. That silence isn't empty. It's the first real privacy you've had all day. That's only part of the story. Psychologists who study stress and emotional regulation point to something called a transition buffer, a small gap of time the nervous system uses to shift between environments and roles. Without it, we tend to carry the tension of one moment directly into the next. A hard meeting into a family dinner. A stressful commute into a conversation with someone we love. The parked car, without anyone planning it, becomes exactly that buffer. A decompression chamber between two versions of your life. Here's where things become interesting. This habit isn't a flaw, it isn't avoidance, and it isn't antisocial. Research on the nervous system suggests that after long periods of social effort or sensory overwhelm, the brain actively seeks low stimulation environments to essentially reset itself. Dim light, enclosed space, no demands. A parked car checks every one of those boxes almost perfectly, which is probably why so many people are drawn to it without ever consciously deciding to be. There's also something quietly telling about who tends to do this most. Often it's the ones who feel deeply, who absorb the emotional temperature of every room they walk into, who spend their whole day managing how they come across to others. For them, that silence in the car isn't just rest. It's the only moment where they're allowed to feel whatever they actually feel without adjusting it for someone else's comfort. This is something most people completely misunderstand about themselves. They think they're just tired or stalling or being a little strange. But what's actually happening is a form of self-protection. Your mind, without asking permission, has found a place where it can finally stop performing. And that instinct isn't weakness. It might be one of the healthiest things you do all day. And here's the part that changes how this whole thing looks. That car isn't really the destination. It's not about the seat or the silence or even being alone. It's about control. For a few minutes, you get to decide exactly how much of yourself to give and to whom and when. In a life that often feels like it's happening to you, that small pause is one of the only moments you're fully steering. Maybe that's why it feels so necessary. Even if you've never said it out loud to anyone, it isn't hiding. It's returning to yourself before you have to belong to everyone else again. So the next time you catch yourself sitting there a little longer than you need to, engine off, world quiet, don't rush to explain it away. You're not avoiding your life. You're preparing to walk back into it as the version of you that can actually be present for it. Maybe it was never about the car. Maybe it was about finally finding one place where the world became quiet enough to hear yourself think. If this felt strangely personal, you're probably not alone. Subscribe for more psychology that helps you understand yourself in ways you never expected.